So the matric class of 2022 recorded an 80.1% pass rate. This is the second highest since 2019. Teachers Union Naptosa is thrilled at the increase. It says this cohort was at a distinct disadvantage but managed to outclass their predecessors. Let's speak to Naptosa's Executive Director, Basil Manuel, who joins us now virtually. Mr. Manuel, thank you very much for your time. I imagine how excited you were to find out that the matric class of 2022 was basically able to take us back to pre-COVID-19 times.
Good morning, Maseko, and thanks for having me. Yes, certainly we are elated and somewhat surprised, particularly with KZN. And that surprise doesn't take anything away from the achievement. We, not in our wildest dreams, would have expected that people would surmount all these challenges that were there, and there were many. And we want to say sincerely congratulations to the learners and especially the teachers, because we've got to look at the efforts teachers have put in and say to them that this is phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned KZN, for instance, Mr. Manuel. That's quite an important province, especially looking at the fact that this class of 2022 not only went through the stages of the times we had to stay at home, rather, because of COVID-19. KZN and Gauteng were the leading provinces with COVID-19 statistics. Then there were the July unrest as well. And then they actually went through the floods, the deadly floods that happened last April. But they are the most improving province.
Absolutely. And Maseko, we would like to attribute that to a number of factors. First of all, the teachers. Let me start there. Teachers have spent an enormous amount of time on the learners just with a catch-up program. And they've spent additional hours at school and holidays too. And I know in the long run, it's not necessarily sustainable because we are worried about their mental health. But we understand the reasons why it was necessary now. And we've got to laud them for the sacrifices they made. But the children and the parents were there. You can make the sacrifices, but if the people it is intended for are not there, you fail. And they were there, and that counted. But also that there was far more additional support this time around than ever before. If you think about the material, the resource material that is out there today compared to 2 and 3 years ago, there's a sea of stuff there that teachers are now using, and primarily online, lots of new publications, etc. And that cannot be discounted. So I want to thank those teachers for being innovative, putting shoulder to the wheel, and sacrificing so much.
Of course, the teachers had a huge role to play, especially during lockdown, where some of those kids, especially in KZN, where there's a lot of rural areas as well in that particular province, like your eNCA, for instance, the teachers really had to try and be there for those pupils, and they were able to persevere. And the parents, how important were the parents in their role?
Parents play an extremely vital role on more than one level. The one is in support of what the school is doing and the teachers are doing. Secondly, it is also to create the conditions at home that are going to encourage learning, creating the conditions at home that are going to support and protect the mental health of the children. It is so easy to push the youngsters to an extent where they break down. And that is where parents come in and have to be very, very careful. So parents have played a huge role in ensuring that we not only protect, but we encourage, we push, we promote, but within the bounds of what is okay for my child. And parents have done that. So to them goes a lot of credit. And of course, there are other support structures, like the department structures, etc., principals, and I'm not leaving them out. I'm highlighting these others because I think that they have played an extremely vital role. Principals create the atmosphere. If you have a good principal, you have a school that rises to the vision that is created by that management team. And they have done an amazing job in all this as well.
Let's talk about the Free State. I mean, this is a province that has really been left behind when it comes to service delivery. The schools there also, there's been complaints about a lack of infrastructure development. But they have been able, for a second time in a row, take up first position.
Taking nothing away from the Free State, I think they've done exceedingly well. And it does show that when people are hungry to improve their own lot, how much work goes into it. But I want just to reflect on the entire country for a second in relation to the Free State. We've seen a tremendous decrease in the retention of children, making this year the year that has one of the highest cohorts of learners to reach matric and write matric. The Free State also needs to come to the party in that respect. They are still not there. They are still retaining too many children earlier on. But that does not take away from that ethos that has been developed about performance and pushing and trying to improve their lot in other ways. But you've touched on infrastructure and backlogs, etc. When people start making comparisons with the IEB, I keep saying, stop comparing an ant to an elephant. But let's learn from the ant. We need the better infrastructure. We need the better resources. We need those things that will do away with us having to spend all those additional hours at school. So the department needs to come to the party and government to ensure that we improve the dignity of schooling in all schools.
And your message, Mr. Manuel, as Naptosa, to those who unfortunately didn't make it?
It is not the end of the world. There are millions of people who always need a second chance, and there is a second chance for you. Grab it. You won't lose anything by grabbing this chance. In fact, you will gain more. And we know some people just need a little longer time. So when you've gotten over the hurt of not having made it, remember, there are people out there to support you. And we want to see you back. We want to see you pick up the subjects that you didn't pass. And we want to see your name on the list of those who have passed. And parents, let us support our children who need a little more time.